Welcome back to the Knick-Knack Review. I am your host, Clinton Knick-Knack, and today we're looking at the season finale of What If, Episode 9. Let's get started. Now, in this episode, the question is asked, what if the Watcher broke his oath? What if he came out of the shadows and actually intervened in the events that plague the universe? He ends up recruiting all of the heroes that we've seen introduced throughout the series. You got Captain Carter, Killmonger, Dr. Evil Strange, you have Gamora, you have Thor, and I think that's about it. He recruits all of them to save the multiverse from Ultron. So basically, after the events of the last episode, the Watcher realizes he can't do this on his own and forms his own little Avengers, hoping that they can stop Ultron. Now, this show did what I actually thought it wasn't going to do. All these episodes ended up building up to this finale, and I honestly thought it was going to be episodic and then just be an interesting episode at the end, and that was it. But it actually was building up to something that was really grand, and that was actually really exciting because I didn't expect it to happen. Now, I'm not sure where they would go from here because regardless of this episode, Ultron is a multiversal level threat. So I don't know if you would, make it more grounded the next season. But I mean, I don't know where you go from here except maybe like Beyonder, Galactus, whatever. But I just don't know where you would go if this show continues. I still feel that they're setting up the Watcher with a live action. But I don't know. I really would like to see more of this show. And I didn't mind them tying it into what they did. However, I just don't know where you go from here and how it's going to be treated from now on. This episode ended up being really good because you had a story where all these different heroes from different universes actually come together. And much like the Avengers, they form a team. And of course, they're not working together really well at first, but it ended up paying off. And it wasn't like really far-fetched. It was actually done really, really well. Eventually, the team ends up defeating Ultron. And there's this one scene at the very end that was really kind of like touching, heart-wrenching, but had me thinking at the same time. If you haven't seen it yet, I won't spoil it, but it's the very end of the episode, and it's the last scene, and it involves a certain character, and it's like, wow, if they did that in this show, could that be done, or would they even approach that in live action? Considering the events of this episode, I really feel that the Watcher is going to have a live action appearance very, very soon. And that means one of two things. One, he's going to appear in live action to warn of the coming of Galactus, which means we get Silver Surfer, Galactus, and potentially, I don't think they would go this route just yet, but a good way to introduce that concept, and Galactus being the next big baddie, would be the Fantastic Four, much like they did in The Rise of the Silver Surfer when they were under Fox. Now, regardless of what you think of that movie, that was actually accurate to the comic books. And I really enjoyed that plot because you had the really big story of the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, and then the coming of Galactus. So you had those really two big stories that really went well together. Or number two, instead of it being Galactus, he's warning the coming of the Beyonder. Now they basically took 10 years to set up Thanos, and it paid off very well. And he proved to be a force to be reckoned with. Very cosmic, very powerful, and they basically had to lose to win. So if they were to fight the Beyonder, I mean, I know how it happened in the comic books, but to see that in live action, I'm sure they would nerf his powers tremendously, and they would find a way to defeat him in a different way. Maybe not completely, but if the Beyonder is coming, the Fantastic Four, we already know 100% is coming, then that means we could get that with Doctor Doom interfering like he did in the comic books. I can guarantee you that regardless of what happens, if he is about to make a live action appearance, we will love it. This was a great first season. It was a great finale. Considering the route that they took with this show, I am really anxious to see what they do in the second season. Considering it probably will not be as episodic as this one was, and we know that they can connect everything, it kind of leaves it up in the air for it to be whatever whatever, really. So that's actually a good thing. It's not predictable. So I can't wait to see season 2. Well, that about does it for me, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the season finale and what you are expecting to potentially see in season 2 or in the future of Marvel. Where do you think this is going to lead? Is it going to connect to the live action at all, or is it going to stay its own thing? I would love to hear what you have to think. Let me know. Also, while you're there, don't forget to, well, you know what to do. As always, I'm Clint the Knickknack, and I will see you on the next one.